Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Converse. I am a member of CPRA's Coastal Master Plan team, and I will be walking you through our Coastal Challenge and project submission form. So like all forms, it starts with some identifying information. The red stars mark mandatory information that you'll see throughout the form. Just fill that out for what feels fitting. This also helps us get back in touch with you should we have any questions about your submission. The second section, the Coastal Challenge identification, is an area where you can describe the how and identify what's going on that is a challenge for you and your community. We'd like to learn more about the challenge itself. We'd like to know where you experience the effects of the challenge. And then there's a map here that you can hold to drag to your location. You can zoom in and out using the plus and minus keys. And then to drop a marker, you just click on the map once. Now we know that 1 point might not seem like enough. We are just trying to get a general sense of the issue at this point. But if you'd like to describe more about the location, you can do that in the Coastal Challenge area above. Following the map, there are a couple questions. To capture timeline, we'd like to know how long you've observed this challenge change over time. We'd like to know how long you've observed it. And on average, how often has your community experienced this coastal challenge? So finally, on this page, or nearly finally, we'd like to know which sources you've used to identify this issue. So is this something that you're living with or that you've heard about? We're curious to know if you've used any of our materials to identify your issue. And of course, there's the other, which you can provide some more detail below. Now, you can submit your form at this point if this is all that you would like to bring to our attention, which is totally okay. Just make sure that if you click no, that you'll want to click submit on the next page. If you would like to come along with me for a project idea submission, you're going to click yes, click next to move on. On this page, we are gathering information about the project intent. What is your intended function for this project? So not every coastal issue can be resolved through a CPRA Coastal Master Plan project, but if it falls under one of these two goals, or perhaps both, reducing coastal risk from storm surge and or reducing land loss, then CPRA might have a project that can help mitigate your issue. So you can look at the functions below each of these goals to see if your project addresses any of these functions. And then if it does, we'd like you to select all that apply with your project. You can click and unclick to remove if you need to. And all of these functions that you select will be carried forward to the next page and will be listed here. So for ease of reference, because what we want to do now is associate these project functions to project types. So using the matrix below, you'll have the project functions on the left and associated project types above. If you'd like to see an enlarged version of this matrix, you just need to right-click to open the image in a new tab, and you can zoom in and out from there. So for this example, I have block or dampen storm surge. So I'm going to find that in the functions on the left. I'm going to move across to the project types. And so if it has a closed or filled in circle, that means that it's always associated with this project type above. And if it has an open or empty circle, that means that it's sometimes associated. So to block or dampen storm surge, structural risk reduction is always associated. Marsh creation is sometimes associated. Land bridges are sometimes associated, and other projects as well. So I have 3 functions that I want to address with one project. And so that probably means that I'm going to need more than one project type to be included. So that's a kind of a special case. We call that an integrated project. If you would like to learn more about our project definitions, you just need to click on this attachment, which will bring you to a page with more information on project functions and project types. So for this example, I'm going to move forward with integrated project, but just so you know, if you click on any of these project types, a short definition will be displayed below, as well as another diagram, which you can expand for greater detail. So again, I'm moving forward with integrated. What's important to note about an integrated project is that it will have one dominant feature, one dominant project type, followed by these secondary project types. So I believe that structural risk reduction is my dominant project type. And then in this example, it's going to have a smaller marsh creation element or feature, and maybe some shoreline protection. All right, so we're moving on to the next page. This is where we provide detail on the project. We're going to give our project a name. And we're going to say where it's located. And then again, we're going to use this map to define our area, but this is going to define our project area as well as the benefit. So just drag the map to your project area, and you're going to click on this polygon or this area feature here to start the activity. I really want to zoom in a little bit, actually. I'm going to start the activity, and then you just click on the map to draw the project area. And when you're done, you just double click to close the polygon. So I have about 1,200 acres of a project area. I'm going to describe more details about my project idea, which might include why it's critical, how it should be implemented to meet its functions, and any other pertinent details for your project idea. I want to describe the benefits that I believe will be incurred by building this project. So how does the shoreline protection protect the communities of this, this segment of Grand Isle, or how is it going to retain sediment, things of that nature. Also, do you anticipate any project maintenance that will be needed to achieve the benefits for as long as you hope? So if so, is this shoreline protection going to need a lift in a couple of years, or will my marsh need to be nourished so that I can maintain this gradient of marsh types? So these small little boxes actually can contain quite a bit of detail, so have at it. Also, we'd like to know if you've used any reference materials to develop this project idea. So perhaps you've seen the data that we have available on our data access portal. This is all public source data that we've used to model our landscape. So maybe you've used Future Without Action maps or some landscape metrics, or perhaps lived experience. So just select all that apply. And then you can move forward with just the description, but if you'd like to provide more detail on some of these specific features, we're calling those project elements, which will help us, it's quite possible that the polygon does not contain all of the detail that you want to convey with your project submission. So project elements are really an area where you can describe how many pumps your project might need, or what's the shoreline protection length, or things of that nature. So definitely much to be explored here. You're going to have a couple elements available to you already, but there will be a drop down from an element, and you can select what your specific feature is. If it's not listed here, just go ahead and press select other, and you can describe what kind of project feature that is. Like it's a culvert that wasn't available on that list, for example. So just you want to fill out, the more detail that you provide, the greater, the more able we are to stay true to the vision of your project as we go through the screening process. So for this example, I'm just going to say that the general description is enough. And then the final section on this page is a file upload. If you have any schematics or drawings or supplementary information that you think should be attached to this project submission, please upload your files here. Note that only 100 megabytes will be allowed here, but if you have more information and it's not and it's too big for this section, you can email us at masterplan@la.gov and we'll figure out how to get that information attached to your project. So, all right, home stretch. We just want to thank you so much for taking the time to participate in this process. Your lived experience and your ideas are instrumental to the new project development process of your coastal master plan. So we just really appreciate your time and the inherent, knowledge that you have. Thank you for listening to me. And we just want to point you to more resources on our homepage. Our plan has its own webpage on coastal.la.gov, and there's a couple links to the master plan process and to the new project development process. If you'd like to stay up to date with the master plan's development and what we're up to, just select whether you'd like to be reached at the email that you provided earlier or a different email. We want to let you know that the final step for your project at this phase will be for the CPRA team to screen it. If it passes the screening, it will become a candidate project to be included in our full model-based evaluation process occurring in 2026. If it does not pass the screening and you've submitted this project by October 17th, 2025, CPRA, we will let you know why, and you will have an opportunity to revise and resubmit your project during our second solicitation period in early 2026. So thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you at a public meeting, hopefully in the near future. All right, y'all, take care.